Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Sisters Sanditon, and we have arrived in London, as promised. This evening we shall be reviewing episode 6 of Masterpiece's hit series, Sanditon. And as you can see, we have donned our most beautiful ball gowns, and indeed we have added the masks, since it was a masked ball that Sydney and Charlotte attended.
That's right, my dear. Shall we toast to the evening?
Oh, yes, let's.
Let us. In high London society.
Yes.
Let's toast to
Sanditon
Season 2! Yes.
Yes.
And as you can see, Sydney has joined us.
Yes.
Look at how dashing he looks
Holding
tonight.
out his arm.
Offering his arm. Ready for the first
dance.
waltz.
Oh, I wish I could dance with him right now.
Yes.
Or dance every dance with him, and you know what that would mean. We would be engaged.
Oh, yes, we would.
Now, let us dive right in with the script.
Yes.
This script is, my goodness, is the biggest script we've ever had. This is bigger than Jane's original manuscript. We shall be here all night, ladies. Better prepare yourselves.
I
for
hope
the
you're
long
ready.
haul.
Yes, I hope you're ready for this, ladies. Oh, dear.
Yeah, you know, some of these London balls can go till dawn. We may go till dawn at this rate.
Well, we'll
dear.
try to do our best. Now,
All right.
all right, so we open with Charlotte arriving in London, and
Yes.
it's in the dark, right?
Yes.
And somehow, miraculously, she finds her way to the address she has written on a piece of paper.
Yes. All she has to go
She's done a
she's
lot
asked-
better than I could do. I'll tell you one thing. My family and I were in London a few months ago. We had City Mapper, we had Waze, and we had Google Maps, and we couldn't find our address.
Oh,
so,
dear.
it's a little TV miracle, if you ask my opinion.
Yes, the magic of television.
That's right.
She arrives without being able to ask anyone or see any street.
Turn a right down an alleyway, a left down an alleyway, and
And there you
have
are.
it.
Yes.
Right there on Otis's doorstep.
Yes.
Well-
but as we find out, it's not Otis's doorstep.
Right.
He doesn't live there.
She finds
And
out someone else has been picking up his mail the
Yes.
last time.
Yes, which is a
What
fact
could
that will come
mean?
into play later.
Then she walks down another deserted alleyway.
Who
for the
knows
heck
where
of it.
she's going?
Yes. And gets attacked.
Yes. Her assailant pulls a knife, and just at the most appropriate time, out of all the streets in London, out of all the
people in
alleyways,
London.
and of all the people in London, who should
come
appear but Mr. Sidney Parker himself.
Yes. Looking like Batman coming down the alleyway.
To
And
save
with
the
a
day.
poof and a poof.
Those boxing classes came in handy.
That's right.
Yes.
He does away with him pretty
Yes.
quick.
And they're walking back, shocked.
And
Miss Hayward?
absolutely shocked
Just
to
absolutely
see each
shocked,
other.
as we were.
Yes.
What a coincidence.
Small world,
Yes,
this
what a
London.
small world.
Well, she tells him that Mary, he's shocked
Right.
that Mary let her come.
Right, and
she says,
she said, I had it in hand, right as someone's ready to attack her again, and he throws him off of
boom
her.
him off.
I had it in hand.
I
Yes.
love a man that can
Yes,
defend
she did.
me.
Oh,
You
yes.
know.
Yes.
Who doesn't?
So, yes, like you said, I'm sorry to interrupt. Yes,
Yes.
she said,
Mary
I'm
did not give
surprised
her
that Mary
permission.
let you come.
But I came anyway.
She expressly forbade it. And he says, so you stowed away in the London coach.
Yes.
And I think he
He looks
seems
quite a little bit pleased,
doesn't
doesn't
he?
he?
Not, he
Yes.
doesn't look too
He
angry
does.
this time.
He
I mean,
does.
she's showing her spunk and her independence.
That's right. And he takes her to Tom's house. Luckily,
Yes.
Tom is there. He says, "We'll
Yes.
go there."
Yes.
This is,
And
you don't
he's
need
a
to
little
be here.
gentle with her. He says, you've
Yes.
done enough. And
Yes.
then he has one of these cute little... He says, get in the carriage. It's so cute. Oh,
We need to put that one on replay.
here, look, I can use this as a fan.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, and you still haven't got your own, I see.
Well, I sent away for one, but the post is slow this week. It
That'll
doesn't
do
arrive.
nicely, I guess.
Yes,
Well,
2 for 1.
they discuss Georgiana and Otis
Yes.
in the carriage
They're
as they sit
seated-
next to each other.
Yes, they're seated next
Quite
to each other.
cozy, right? And she gets his goat up, and he says he despises slavery,
Yes.
right? And says that she's naive.
Yes.
He
Again,
says that
he
again,
goes back
right.
to it, which
Right.
she...
And explains that the money the minute you marry someone, the money goes to him.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
That's why this is such a dire
That's why he
situation.
thinks Otis
you know?
wants to marry
And
her,
she
the money.
says, "Well, let's go to the Sons of Africa to
Well,
find him."
yes, and he didn't have any idea what to do. It seems
so
like he
she's
didn't
coming
know.
in to be invaluable, isn't
She's
she?
got an idea.
And he says, "Oh, let's try it."
Mhm.
Well, they argue, right, and they
They
find
find
out,
Otis.
Yes,
They find Otis.
yeah, gambling, right? They found out that Otis has gambled,
Yes,
right?
yes. And
And
he
they find
says, where could she be? I'm thinking, she says, who would want to steal your post? He said, I didn't
Right.
give anybody my letters.
Right.
So he says, oh, well, it's someone that I owe a large
Yes,
debt
in other
to.
words, he was throwing Georgiana's name around,
Mhm.
and but he says, he was only bragging that
Yes.
he loved her so much.
I don't,
What a catch
I
she
don't know
was.
if I buy it, but anyway.
I don't know about that.
So they go
Well,
to this
she's-
man.
and we find out she's been sold to someone
Yes,
who wants
the
a
man
fortune.
tells her she's been
And
sold.
Sydney is so ticked off. He's
He's
throws
ready
him up
to,
against that
ready
wall.
to fight him.
Yeah.
I should avenge her honor right here.
Right, but Charlotte stops him, right?
Yes.
And she has a brilliant idea,
Yes.
right? So they probably wouldn't give her
Yes.
up yet unless he has the money.
Again, he's
Another-
like, what do we do?
Another
She
great
thinks,
idea,
yes,
right?
not him, her.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And so they go to look for her at the boarding house.
The boarding house that is owned by this man that sold her. Now, I don't know if you realise what kind of a boarding house this was, but it's not the typical boarding house. It's a house of ill repute.
Yes.
And I must say, it pained me greatly to know that Sydney had been frequenting that establishment.
Did it pain you, ladies?
Cut me a little bit
and
to the heart.
I honestly do not think that Jane Austen would relish in the fact that her male lead characters were frequenting
Her heroes.
these places.
You know, I can't see any of the leads going there.
Can you see Darcy going
there? No, Mr. Knightley, Mr. Tilney, he was respectable.
These
Captain
lovely
Wentworth,
gentlemen.
well, he's been pining for Anne for years, but
I don't know. I just don't know.
To me, it
but
seems more
I
like
guess
something.
I don't know. I guess that's what the men did back then.
But
But I'll tell you one thing: if I was Charlotte, I would be asking some questions of
yes,
Sydney.
yes.
I don't care much to get syphilis myself. I'll tell you what. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, but
it's true. It's
I
true,
would have
dear.
had a little sit down right there.
Oh dear.
Well, anyway.
Yes. So anyway,
we'll overlook it, I guess.
You know, he was a reprobate back in his days after he, went off the deep end.
Oh yes, after
Don't forget.
he was heartbroken.
He was gambling and
we'll
drinking.
forgive him.
He was in debt as well. Tom paid them off. He tells them later.
Yes.
Anyway, so
all right,
he had his bad days.
So we see the next scene: Georgiana being, sold to the.
She's off with the carriage.
That yucky man.
She's off with the carriage with that gross man.
Meanwhile, back at Lady D's house, we got Clara, Esther, and Edward
all waiting around poor Lady D's bed,
waiting for her to die.
They'd like it to be the deathbed, but she'll have none of it.
Yes, she'll have none of it. Even though she's on her deathbed, she still has not lost her wit.
Her wit, yes, her sense of
She is
humor.
absolutely hilarious, even at death's door.
But
and Edward wants.
But Aunt, she says, Dr. Fuchs says you're in grave danger. She goes, of course he's going to say that. It's entirely in his interest to say that. I mean, she doesn't believe a word of the doctor's.
No,
Give me some more seawater.
Some more seawater, yes.
Seawater? Doesn't she know that could poison her in large quantities?
Yes, I didn't never really get that about
Perhaps
her drinking seawater.
Perhaps that's why she's not feeling well. Well, people in the day, they thought it was a mineral water. Perhaps it could help. People didn't know. They didn't know anything.
She drinks a few more cups of that and she will be poisoned. Maker.
Yeah.
Right. Well, anyway, Edward wants to know about this will, right?
Sets off
and he goes on the hunt for it, and that's kind of where we leave them.
He's hunting all night.
Looking for the will.
Yes.
So we're back in London, and Charlotte and Sydney are sitting across from each other this time. No longer side by side, but Sydney says that Otis has several debtors, right?
Yes.
And Charlotte thinks that though he didn't mean to put Georgiana in harm's way, and
perhaps he was just a good man and did one wrong thing. He didn't mean to.
Yeah. And Sydney says, Charlotte says all she ever cared about was for Georgiana's happiness, right?
And he says, what do you think I care about? That is anyone's guess. She said,
right.
Which is, we've seen he's very hard to read.
Yes.
No one really knows what he's thinking or what he's doing. And he flip-flops back and forth.
Yes.
He takes care of Georgiana. He's like, I'm leaving all
she puts him in his place again. She tells him it was your responsibility. You abdicated it.
He said, I never wanted it.
That's
trying to make excuses.
That's right. Because you're determined to remain an outlier.
Yes.
And in this episode, we see so many times, literally over and over, that she says something and then he echoes it later.
Yes.
He says
literally
exact
the same
word
words
for word.
that
so
he has thought, pondered, and taken to heart.
In this episode, right. And she says he takes pains to remain unknowable and that he can't bear the thought of two people being in love. Ouch.
Well,
that was harsh.
And then he tries to get a little bit back and says, well, what do you know of love other than what you've read?
And she gives it right back. Well, I'd sooner be naive than
be devoid of feeling.
That's right.
Which she thinks he is. And he goes, is that really what you think of me? And that seems to pain him.
Yes, it does.
And he says, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way.
That was sad.
It was a little sad.
So, he and her arrive at the boarding house, right?
Yes, the boarding house.
Yes, and he tells her under no circumstances is she to set foot inside that place. And he walks up to the madam, who seems like she knows him pretty well.
Yes, we haven't seen... Dear Mr. Parker, we haven't seen you in a while. We've got some girls here. It's like, no, I'm not here for that.
As if he was a regular.
Yes, well, maybe 10 years ago he was. Hopefully it's been 10
years.
years.
I still would like to think the better of my Austen heroes.
I know.
Now.
I mean, Willoughby, Edward, maybe it's all right for men like them.
Yes.
But not for Sydney, not for our heroes.
Must you? Anyway, Charlotte comes in and they have this...
She comes in and
little moment.
I thought I told you to wait in the car. That type of thing.
Yes.
It's just like, I thought I told you to wait in the carriage.
Yes.
I decided against it. They're so cute.
Absolutely hilarious.
They're flirting
all of these wonderful moments in this. Yeah.
Yes.
And the madam says, well, you haven't made an honest man out of
our Mr. Parker, have you? Gracious, no, she says.
Yes. And he seems a tad bit miffed by that.
Sideways glance. What's so wrong with me?
Yes, right. That's correct. And they find out that Georgiana
has just left.
Yes.
Like 30 minutes ago.
gentleman.
The old man
You
who
could call
bought
him
her.
that. Right. To
Yes,
Gretna
not a
Green.
gentleman.
To Gretna Green.
Gretna
Now,
Green.
our question here that we thought about is why didn't Otis and Georgiana just go to Gretna Green?
Yes, if she had all the money, if whoever married her could keep the money, they could keep the money together, they could be married, they could have it all.
Yes.
Done. I don't know, maybe she was really
One and
trying
done.
to do what society, was, I don't know.
She
because
seems
he
like
was
a
her
rebel to
guardian.
me.
It wasn't
I feel like he and
I
her just would have
know.
said, hey, let's run away
She
to Gretna
does
Green
seem like
ourselves. Get hitched, and we got your money to live on. We're good to go. But anyway,
I don't know.
That's not what
It is-
happened.
it is
but
interesting.
It's a little bit of a quandary.
Yes, yes.
And Charlotte says to Sydney, as they're in that brothel, so this is your idea of love? Something to be paid for?
And he silences her. That'll do. That'll be enough.
Yeah.
Which to me, where do you get off your high horse? You know I love you, but come on now. It's not your place to put. You're in the wrong.
That's right. He doesn't even let her talk about it. Like, oh, just
No,
hush up. That,
She's
you know.
right.
I
he
didn't
tried
care
to
for that.
silence her. Yes.
And so then they go on and he says, I don't suppose there's any point in telling you to stay behind, which was another
She walks
just
right past him.
hilarious. Hilarious.
I love it.
And so next, we're just
They're off.
As you'll see through this
Yes.
episode, we're going to fose mainly on Sydney and Charlotte. Because
Which, we did say that
told
our
you that
reviews
at the
were going to be
beginning.
99%
they're our
Sydney
favorite
and Charlotte.
people. So, well, let's go to the place where they're chasing, and it's the Western, and he's going to jump off the carriage onto the other carriage.
I think he did his own stunts. Perfectly capable, if you ask me.
He did.
Woo! He jumped with such speed and agility.
Yes, he did.
Oh,
And
my.
then, boom!
And he was
took
taking
the guy out with the
no,
elbow.
He was taking the reins at the beginning. He was driving.
Yes. Oh, that was just what
Yes.
what an exciting scene.
Yes. Well, I must say,
they rescue her.
and I must say, she wasn't very grateful. Not a word of thanks.
No,
Thank you
true.
for saving my life saving me from a fate worse than death. She was ready to slit her own throat.
But they bring her to Tom's house in
Yes.
London, and Georgiana asks what will happen to Otis, and Sydney has a very empathetic moment for her.
Mhm.
I know your world feels undone, but you must put that out of your mind or you'll go mad. And so, of course, that is for us to know that that's what
That's
he
what
had to
he
do.
had to do.
And Sydney does blame himself for not taking better care of her,
Mhm.
and Charlotte's words, as we see, are starting to affect him.
Mhm.
He is listening to what she's saying, and he says he must begin to make amends.
Mhm.
And speaking of amends,
And we all
Tom
know
is
that
trying
Tom
to
is
do
there.
that too. We
Yes,
know
Tom
that,
is trying
right?
to make amends.
And Sydney says that he's going to loan him $3,000, and not only going to loan him $3,000, he's going to pay off Otis' debt.
Yes.
Not only is he handsome, ladies, but he's rich as well.
Ooh, match.
Couldn't get any better than that,
No.
right? I always say, if I have to marry again, if my husband dies, I shall marry for money. Well, there you go. She's got it both in one fell swoop. Now, oh, I'm sorry, I knocked the table.
Look at
now,
her.
I
Yes.
cannot, he says, pretend to understand the workings of a marriage, he says to Tom.
Yes.
Right? But he envies Tom his,
Yes.
or says,
Mary
I
is a
wish
wonderful
I had
wife.
what you have.
Yes, and if I had a wife like that, I would try to do everything I could to make it up
You know,
to her.
he's ready to settle down, and Charlotte's the lucky lady, I think.
Yes.
Back to Lady D's, right? We have Edward who's been searching for the will all night. Clara's got it.
Yes.
They
Esther doesn't
discover
seem
that
to care anymore.
Lady D's left everything to the donkeys.
Oh dear, yes.
And-
Everything to Sanditon.
Yes.
And to a donkey stud in her
That's
name.
right. She makes a deal with Edward, and we have some unsavory
They
moments.
burn the will. And what shall they keep a secret?
We don't need to
seal the
discuss.
deal. It was not.
As
not
Lady D
Not my
says,
cup of tea.
she will need to replace the floor. I would
Oh,
do the
dear.
same if I were her. Anyway, so they have that, and,
Yes.
and let's
Quite an unfortunate moment in the
Yes,
series, if you
yes,
ask me.
Yes. Well, let's move right back to London, shall
Yes,
we?
yes.
So, Charlotte says she's always felt so certain of her judgment. See, she's having a conversation with Tom now.
Yes.
But
She's thinking about what
she's-
Sydney has been
she's
saying
been
to her.
blinded, right, by
Mhm,
naivete,
mhm.
and no wonder your brother has such a poor opinion of me.
Yes. And he says, no, I'm
So
sure he doesn't.
she's
he doesn't-
listening to him now. She's
Yes,
seen her
right,
faults as the
right,
same he is doing.
Right. And Tom says, no, it's not that. He's just hard to read sometimes. He can be a conundrum.
Right.
But she says, but even a conundrum can be solved, and I just I don't know what to do with
Yes.
him. She doesn't know what to make of him.
And Tom goes on to tell her about his past.
Let
with
me tell you
Eliza
where he
and
ca-
all
yeah,
of
where it
that.
came from,
And
yes.
so she kind of hears what he's been
Mhm,
through. And then
mhm.
just then Otis and Sydney come in, right?
Mhm.
And Sydney says they deserve a proper parting.
Exactly the same
Her
words
words
that she had said
again.
before. At least
Yes.
give a
So he's
party.
listening. He's been thinking about what she
Mhm.
said. So Otis goes. I'm just kind of gonna
Yes.
glaze over this.
Yes.
Otis goes to Georgiana, apologizes. She kind of just says, "Okay."
Well, he
whatever.
didn't even really apologize. Let's be
Well-
honest about that. He came in and tried to save his
Well,
own
he
face.
said he fell in love with her soul. Now, whether
Yes,
that's true
I don't
or
believe
not,
him.
I don't.
She didn't forgive him. She didn't
Oh,
forgive
yeah.
him.
Well, Otis leaves, and as he leaves, he tells Charlotte that his debt has been paid by
Yes.
Sydney.
By
Wow.
Sydney.
And Charlotte's
How
thinking,
magnanimous
what
of
a,
you, Sidney.
What a man.
What a darling.
Oh, dear. And at this moment, Babington arrives, right?
With
the
a very
invitation
special invitation to the masked ball.
to the ball.
All of the beau monde will be there. Anybody
Yes.
who's anybody.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, but Charlotte's saying she doesn't want to go because
not in the
she
mood.
doesn't. No, she's had a bad day, right?
Sidney looks downcast.
He does. He doesn't look too happy about
No.
that.
And then he runs
and
after
goes
her.
after her.
Yes,
right?
runs up after her and says, under the guise that Tom has sent him there
That was
to see
sly.
if she'll reconsider.
Very sly.
You sly one, Sidney.
Yes.
Yes, you sly dog. Yes, so, who knows if it was really just him wanting
Right.
to see her
Right.
and convince her to come
Yes,
to the ball.
convince her to come. Yes. And
And-
she asks him here, why did he pay Otis debts, right? And he basically parrots her thoughts, right? Of saying,
Again.
a good man shouldn't be condemned for one terrible mistake. Her words.
And she's blown away.
Yes.
And she says, I owe you an apology. And I've accused you of the worst kind of prejudice. I accused you of all these things. And he said, no, I don't accept it.
Yes.
Because I owe you an apology. She's shocked. And he says, I've underestimated you.
This is a moment here where we see a heart and the words love blinking over their heads. This is the love starting here,
yes,
big
it's
time
starting,
in this
yes.
episode. So,
Charming.
yes. I
So-
guess she reconsidered. in
She
the
did
next scene.
reconsider. Who could refuse that? I mean, who could refuse him if he asked you to go to a
Yes.
ball?
Well,
I'll
lucky
be
for
there.
all of us, she comes gliding down the stairs, dressed like a absolute princess, picture perfect in gold,
In a gown of gold.
and he's in gold.
And his waistcoat matches.
Yes. And
What a couple.
he has the strangest look. I've watched it a lot of times. I can't make it out.
But she can't either, which is why she says, well, will it not do? Does it not suit me?
Yes, and then he just says,
He smiles. It'll do very well.
yes.
He holds out his
Offers
arm for her.
Just like that there,
Yes.
yes. And they go off to the ball, and we are just fanning ourselves at home with the excitement of it all.
Yes.
So they arrive at the ball, and Crow sees Charlotte and says, who is
Yes.
this spellbinding creature?
Yes, I demand that you
Babington says,
introduce
"It's
us.
Charlotte, you idiot.
Charlotte, you Miss Hayward, you fool.
Yeah, and
Oh.
Crow says something about her looking good with the mask, and she
What
says,
is that
I
supposed to mean?
don't know if that's a compliment
Yeah.
or not.
Oh dear. Crow, anyone's
Crow
guess.
just needs to go off and
Who knows what he's
drink
talking
some more.
about?
I don't know. But anyway,
Seems as though he's already had a bit too
yes,
much.
I agree.
Yeah.
And Tom, now this is kind of, I think this is kind of a
It's
funny
so
moment. As
comical.
Tom's going around
Poor
trying
Tom.
to Sanditon.
Frantically.
People are throwing the
We
cards.
offered to have a town and we'll a grand regatta. And
Yes.
yes, charmed. I'm Sidney Parker, or I'm John
they,
Parker. and-
they are there to spread word
Nothing.
of the regatta.
Yes, everyone
And-
is ignoring him.
Right. Sydney and Charlotte are left talking, right?
Yes.
And Sydney says, aren't you not glad you came, And she says, I don't think I belong here. And he says, I don't think I do either.
And what?
It's strange,
She
because he
says,
was
well,
the
is this
London
natural?
man, right?
Yes, is this not
The
your
balls
natural
and
habitat?
pubs and drinking and parties.
Yes,
and-
yes. I don't want to be a Sanditon anymore. I've got to get back to London. Like I said, she says, this is not your natural habitat. And he says, well, perhaps I don't belong anywhere. Like you said, I'm an outlier.
Her words again.
Exactly what she said again.
Listen.
And we're thinking,
He's a good listener,
and
this one.
Yes.
Mhm.
Nice quality, Sidney.
And Charlotte's saying, I don't know if anyone can
She's
carry on a
shocked.
conversation in this
Yeah.
place,
And
Um,
he sort of shows her the ropes.
yes,
you
he
know,
does
this is-
here. He's
people
kind
don't
of
come
telling
here
yeah,
to talk,
him guiding her along. It's so cute.
come to be seen.
And
And then they move on.
Yes.
And she says, well, I think I should like to move on. I'd
Yes.
like to go too, with your permission.
yes. Since when have you required my permission to do
Yes,
anything?
that is so funny.
That
and,
was darling.
And
after
he's
the episode
chuckling
that we've seen.
a little bit, yes. But
And-
she, I think she's like, oh, here we go again.
Yes.
Yes. I know I'm too headstrong. I'm too
Stops
opinionated.
her again with those gorgeous, intent eyes.
Yes. You're not too anything.
Swoon.
Don't doubt yourself. You're more than equal to any woman here. He looked like he wanted to kiss her right then and there.
He did, didn't he? Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And they're
Yes.
interrupted, and
Yes, they're
Babbage
interrupted.
comes over
The
to
moment
her,
is-
right?
yes.
As he gets
Tom's
called away to
calling
go
him
be
over.
with Tom, and he
Mhm.
asks her if it's possible for a woman's opinion of a
Affection
man
or yes,
or something to
alter.
change in a day.
Yeah.
And there we see it. It's like doo 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 doo. We see Charlotte love. She's in love, and she's realizing it. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a huge moment.
Yes. And she can't breathe.
She's so
I have to get out of
I
here.
gotta get out of here.
She runs away to the little alcove.
Yes.
And we meet Lady
We're
Susan.
introduced to Lady Susan.
What a wonderful
She's
character.
So sweet and
Genteel,
sympathetic.
and
Yes.
she's sort of motherly.
And Charlotte begins to just
Spew.
verbally vomit
Everything.
and
Yeah.
everything that's happened, and Lady Susan
The
is
whole-
quite intrigued by
yes,
it,
the whole
and
story.
then she says, what is the quote she talks about?
Charlotte? Oh,
yes.
it seems to me
There's
that
a
you sound
certain
like,
gentleman.
oh, yes. When Charlotte says, well, Mr. Sidney Parker, she goes, he inspires an anger in me that I did not know I possess, and yet I find that his good opinion matters more than anyone's. How can that be?
Oh, my dear! You should have got the part yourself.
Thank you.
Look at that. A lovely rendition if I've ever seen one. Well,
I hope I got it right.
That was so darling. And
Yes.
Lady Susan says, of course, you're in
Sounds
love.
as though you
and
were
they
in
can't
love.
choose who you love.
She goes,
It's
what?
like measles. It's an affliction.
So,
Absolutely. This to me was Austen.
yes.
This was something like I would read in an Austen book. The
mhm.
lines, the
Just the interaction
the
between
whole
them.
interaction,
Yes,
this
the whole
ball.
dialogue.
I loved this. This was Austen again to
Yes.
me, which I love.
Yes.
I love Austen.
Traditional.
And
It
this was
seems very
traditional
traditional.
Austen. Yes.
Mhm.
And Sidney comes in right there,
Right at that
just
moment.
like a book. I mean, it was. This is
Mr.
reading
Sidney,
like a book. He
Mr.
comes
Sidney
in-
Parker, I presume, pretty much,
Yes, we were
you
just
know,
talking about you.
just talking of you.
Charlotte's like, oh,
Yes, and he says, well, I came to see if you, Miss Hayward, would like to dance.
yes,
He holds
please.
out his arm, there it is, yes. And Charlotte's just like, oh, and Lady Susan goes,
Oh,
you know,
yes.
we know, something's blossoming,
Oh,
even she
she's
can see
still
it.
my heart. So, the dance.
Brings us to the dance.
Best one in all of history, I would think.
Yes.
Has there ever been a better dance, my
I
dear?
don't think
Do
I
any
can
of you
ever
know
recall.
of a better one? If so, comment below. Let
No.
us know, please.
I don't think I ever recall seeing a
But
better dance.
this dance, it basically tells their love story
Yes.
from
Yeah, it starts out very
to this
slow.
point.
Not much is happening at the beginning. They bow, and he can't take his eyes
He's
off
watching her.
He doesn't look at the ground. He stays looking at her.
They're doing
And,
this
you know,
close movement.
Yes, and as they do their arm raises and their
They do the arm
waltz
raise.
holds.
I hope she had more deodorant.
Hope she had some Sean.
They didn't have that
Yes.
back then,
Oh
but
dear, perfume perhaps. I would have been
perfume,
checking my
something.
breath.
I would have
No.
doused myself in it.
Oh dear, yes. And they're dancing. But as the music begins to pick up, they start smiling
Yes.
and laughing and having a good time, and they're skipping about and just contempellas
And
when they
it-
were
and
flirting
it is
together.
epic. The room is turning, the music is sweeping, and it's like it is their love story, and you're watching it, and you see
Watching
the
it
whole love
unfold.
story unfold. Every moment they've had, everything they've been through.
And there's just this energy between them two. They seem like they're just connected.
Yes.
Like they can't break. They couldn't
Yes.
break apart if they wanted to.
And they are obviously both feeling something for each other. You
Mhm.
see it in their
Mhm.
eyes, and they stand there in that last whole
The last
pose. Everyone
pose.
else breaks apart, right? And they
Yes, they
stand.
can't move.
She pulls back a bit, unnerved by it all.
and he
he
looks like
does.
he's about to devour her. I mean,
He's
he
got to do a jaw
that
clench.
jaw
there.
clench. Like he's I gotta back away.
I wish we
back
could get a
away.
picture of the jaw clench,
With
a
the
nice
jaw
big
clench.
close-up, but
Perhaps I can get one for
oh
next
my
week.
goodness.
Yes.
They
Mm.
thank each other, and the spell is broken as the couples
Yes.
get ready for the next dance.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
Sidney looks up to see a woman standing with a mask. And, who
And
is
she
it, of
takes
course?
it down just in time to smile.
Yes, doesn't she though? And Tom comes
Tom
and asks
comes,
Charlotte to
"Can we
dance,
dance?"
and he goes off, and there it is, and we see it's Eliza, and we say no. We're yelling at the TV, and Charlotte is on cloud 9 at this point. She is
And
smiling.
Tom
She's
comments,
so happy. Tom,
so good to see the light return to your eyes.
Yes.
And she's just
And she's thinking yes, and then he says, and Sidney,
haven't seen
right?
him this happy in 10 years. Perhaps it's due to a certain young lady. And Charlotte thinks, well, which young lady? I mean, she's thinking it's her, of
So
course.
precious.
And it
No,
really is
it's-
sad.
And I
Oh,
told you
he's
about a
talking
woman
to her.
earlier today.
He's
It was
talking
his
to her right
love, and
there.
She says, I didn't hear about anyone named Eliza.
Miss Campion, Mrs. Campion.
Yes, Miss Campion. Well, her Christian name is Eliza, and then it's all
And
dawned
then we
on her.
realize
That's
Sidney
her.
has found her, and he
Right.
doesn't know what to
And
do.
she goes up, and the woman calls him Sidney.
Yes, very familial.
Mm-hmm.
And Sidney almost can't, he can't really believe it's Mrs.
And
Campion.
he's smiling and having a
No,
good old time.
now give him
Oh, he was smiling, my dear.
Well, let me
He was
remind
enjoying
you,
himself.
the woman that he
He
was
looks over at
in love-
Charlotte very guiltily too, if you ask me. Looks
Well,
over at
does
her
a
like,
little
does
bit.
she see me up here with this
He
woman?
does a little
Yes,
bit.
she does see you.
But let me remind you, this is almost that type of story where the love of your life goes off to war and dies, and then you move on and you find someone new, and then the love of your life comes back, and you have two people here that you're like, who do I love? I mean, it's sort of like that.
Once again, bachelor-like, right?
Yeah.
Peter's in love with two women at the end.
2 on 1. Yes, but
He's in love with two.
I
Make
mean,
up your mind.
I think he doesn't know what to think. It's like seeing a ghost, and he doesn't know what to think.
Yes, I guess. But
He's falling for her, but he didn't expect to see
it
her.
was very
He doesn't
sad.
know.
And Tom says perhaps he'll have his chance at happiness
Perhaps
after
they'll
all.
finally have their chance at happiness.
He's
after all.
looking guiltily at Charlotte, and Charlotte is this last
Talk about busting
scene,
a bubble.
And this last scene is just so heartbreaking and beautiful. At the same time, she's standing there in the middle. As
All the
couples
couples
go
are just
around
waltzing
her, and
around
it's
her
like-
in circles.
It's like a metaphor. Her world is spinning.
Spinning.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Everything is spinning out of control.
Mhm.
So I thought that was a beautiful
Mhm.
shot. It was just so sad, and
It's very sad because we don't know what's going to happen at this point.
No,
we were all on cloud 9 with her. Because they had that moment, the best dance in history.
Yeah.
And they were so close and so intimate in those moments.
Yes, we're all just on the edge of our seats.
Like,
This is it. Yes.
Right? They've
I
finally
thought that
broken
too.
those barriers. They've gotten close. We can finally see. It's palpable. We know what is going on.
How would you like to have been in that carriage on the ride home?
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah,
I wonder what was said.
Not a thing, I bet. Not one thing. Of course, Tom probably blabbered on
Mrs.
about...
Campion was there, isn't she? Well,
as poor Charlotte sits there,
looking...
and Tom oblivious, to the whole thing that's happening.
How could he be so oblivious? When she was walking down the staircase, I thought, how could Tom not pick up on, oh, she looks pretty.
Yes, what a fool.
And look at Sydney's looking at her. I don't know.
Well, there
it's
you
very
have
sad.
it. There you have it.
But we don't know what shall happen next. And we do have an exciting episode to come.
Yes.
The Grand Regatta.
That's right.
That will come
a rowing
next.
lesson. My fan. Get your makeshift fan. A rowing lesson, yes. For any of you that ever wanted to row, you'll have to tune in.
What
at the table again. I'm so excited.
What a teacher. Sydney.
Yes.
Next week.
And in fact, I'm thinking, my dear, that we should perhaps do a shorter episode, maybe about 10 minutes, 5 minutes, I don't know, where we discuss every little nuance of the dance.
The dance
it deserves its own.
I think it does deserve its own moment, its own video.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So maybe we should play it here and let everybody watch it with us as we break it down.
Yes.
What do you think to that?
I like it.
We'll see if we can get to it. We hope you guys have enjoyed this. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, my shoulder's killing me from that. Take that up.
Thank God that's over.
You know who you look like right now?
Oh, my head is so
You know who you look like right now? Jo March, after she got her head, all her hair chopped off. You look like a porcupine.
Really? I feel deliciously light and cool.
Oh, Jo, your hair. You're one beauty. Oh, no, sorry. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Sisters Sanditon, and we have arrived in London town, as promised. Now, this evening we shall be reviewing episode 6, The London Ball.
I see you've forgotten your lace tucker again, my dear.
Please.
You might want to...
All right, you cannot keep commenting on the lace tucker. What's the matter with you? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have arrived in London. And tonight, we are the Sisters Sanditon, by the way, in case you didn't know. Ha-ha, here we are. Oh, dear. As you can see, we have donned our finest ball gowns, and we are wearing our masks, and we are ready for the finest London ball.
Press stop.
What?
I put my hand up to get the mask. And I went like this. I wanted to show the fence. It was like the person who strokes